John and Sam in Japan, the international comedy podcast.
Theme tune time. Let's go, John. John and Sam in Japan. John and Sam in Japan. John and Sam in Japan.
I told you there's no way I'm singing.
Come on. John and Sam in Japan. John and Sam in Japan. Yeah. John and Sam in Japan.
Never gonna happen. And put your clothes back on, it's just weird.
Never.
John and Sam in Japan, the international comedy podcast.
Welcome to the show. He is John.
And here's Sam.
And this is John and Sam in Japan, the international comedy podcast. What's been going on this week, John? Well, it's been your birthday.
It hasn't though, has it? it was my birthday about a month ago. It was my birthday when we recorded this 2 weeks ago, was it? 3 hours of my life I'm never going to get back.
Well, I thought the agreement was that we were going to do the birthday beginning again.
Well, no. I'm like, oh, no, I think you should tell everybody what you did. Own up to it.
Well, I think I'd better leave that to you.
Well, what happened was that we spent 3 hours recording some of the greatest ever podcast material, and Sam forgot to turn the mics on.
Yeah. Well, the mics were turned on, just the wrong ones. But I wasn't actually happy with all the content, because I must say, at that particular occasion, I didn't think you were very funny.
No.
And I'm using the word very generously.
Well, are we going to do the dog puns later?
Yeah, that's not this episode.
Isn't it? Oh, episode 6, dog puns.
A little bit of a spoiler alert.
Well, no, a teaser trailer. So what's on this episode now then?
Well, on this episode, we have an interview with Alex Camp, one of the showrunners for Stand Up Tokyo. We have the answer to the burning question, what pranks have you done that have gone bad? And we have some stand-up comedy from a very funny guy from Canada, Ed Hill.
Nice.
So it's a packed show. But first, this.
This is J&S&J News.
Now it's time for the news section of the show. So Sam, what have you got for me?
I've got an interesting story for you this time. In Argentina. Yeah. That's mean. In Argentina, about half a ton of marijuana went missing that some police officers were supposed to be guarding. And they blamed it on an animal. They said that some animal ate it. What animal do you think, if you had to blame a half a ton of pot going missing, what animal would you say ate it?
What, and it's the police?
Yeah, well, you're a police officer, which is obviously very, very far-fetched.
Am I allowed to say pig?
I wonder how that's going to go down. Yeah. That's be very self-aware.
So God, what was it? What, a dog?
Well, no, they blamed it on mice.
Fuck off.
Yeah. And it wasn't one mouse. They didn't think it was just one. A whole herd of them.
Half a ton of weed. It was one mouse. I've tried to get away with some bullshit in my time, but that would be
taking the
biscuit. Taking the cheese.
You'll be taking the stoner biscuit. It says here that in Buenos Aires, the city's former police commissioner was ordered to explain the shortfall to a judge, and he and 3 subordinates told the skeptical jurist the missing marijuana must have been eaten by mice. But experts, however, have sent that theory up in smoke.
Hey.
Little nod there for the Huff Post. That was a nice little joke.
Post, hey. Puff Post.
Is that in the off chance that they did, the mice would have likely died from the dope, and investigators would have found cannabis-laden corpses all over the warehouse, which would be a little bit like most university dormitories.
Half a ton?
It's a lot of weed.
That is a lot of weed.
Yeah. It says all 8 officers were dismissed from their jobs and will testify in front of the judge on May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, I think they're going to need it. The judge will then decide if the drugs are missing due to expedience or negligence.
Wow. You do the maths.
I think
half a ton of weed.
Yeah, I would, if I'm in that position, I would definitely be saying to the judge, look, I'm just incompetent.
Yeah.
I haven't stolen it, and I definitely haven't sold it, but I am rubbish at my job.
Yeah. Well, we've all been there.
Yeah, some more than others.
Yes.
And that is the end of the tale. What have you got for me this week?
Again, from... well, it was on Twitter, but it's a man sends a woman a bill for £42.50 after she turned him down for a second date. What is wrong with men? This is one of the most pathetic emails I've ever read in my life.
Okay,
I've
go
seen
on.
Quite a few. So, well, the story is a man who took a woman out on a date has asked her to pay him £42.50, not even 45 quid or 40 quid, £42.50 after she turned him down for a second date. Lucy Brown from London. She'd only started dating again after a 3-year relationship came to an end.
Poor Lucy.
Poor Lucy. Despite the Plenty of Fish date going well, I don't know if that's a site. Oh, no, it's a pub. Plenty of Fish.
No, Plenty of Fish, isn't that one of those dating websites? Like,
Oh, is it?
yeah, Plenty of, I think so.
I don't know. Are you married?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Check it out.
Yeah, it's in Japan. It's called Plenty of Sushi.
Oh, we've all been there. But yeah, this is I'll read you the actual mail that he sent her. He said, "Hi Lucy, thanks for your honesty. I had a really nice time with you, and the truth is, I'm a bit devastated at the moment." It didn't even say at the moment, he put ATM, so he's obviously a knobhead. "Having read your note, I really fancied you and saved up some money to take you on a nice date. As it didn't work out, I'd be grateful if you could send along something to contribute for the drinks I spent on you. Thinking I'd at least get to see you again. The total cost of the night was £85.
Oh, so he's done all right. He's spent a fair bit of money there. Yeah. He's
Well,
not.
He gets him winning.
He's not cut corners.
He doesn't even explain this in the story, but it says, "And as it'd be too painful to receive the watch in the post and remind me of you, I thought you might be interested to know that the cost of that was €20. So I don't know if he bought that on the beach in Spain.
What? And this is their first date,
Yeah.
and he's turned up with a watch as a present.
Yeah,
Oh.
€20 worth of watch.
I hope she wasn't late.
But he says, "Happy for you to do what you feel is right, especially considering my badly damaged feelings. ATM." What a knob. And then he has literally put account number, sort and name.
That is hilarious. I quite like the gumption of the guy.
Yeah.
He's got some balls. Did she pay him?
No, well, so this is her reply.
Oh, good,
Hey,
good.
Shouldn't say what
I was
his name
hoping
is,
that
but
would
it
be
says-
there.
She sounds like a nightmare as well. She's put, "Hey, whatever his name is, wowsies," as in WOWSEYSS. The trials and tribulations of modern day dating.
Now let's go back and try and say that.
Wowsies.
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 That's definitely not a word.
Yeah, she's not a keeper. I'd charge her 42 quid just for saying that.
Yeah. The more I hear from her, the more she's deserving. She should pay £82.
Yeah. It says, "They say happiness is priceless, but today it cost me 85 quid. I can honestly say that I've never snorted in laughter so much as when I received your message. The joy of you have brought to our office, don't worry, I haven't given your name, is worth every penny. So I'd like, by way of goodwill, to offer you a full refund for your share. £42.50. You can have the Jaeger bomb on me. The other half I've donated on our behalf to Sidmouth Donkey Sanctuary,
Actually, I'm starting to like her now. I think she's good.
a charity I like to support. Thanks for a genuinely fun date and today's lols."
No, I like his balls, and I like her balls too.
You've never said that before.
Except that one time
My
in
country
Thailand.
boys, yeah.
That was J&S-in-J News.
And now for this episode's interview, which is with British comedian Alexander Camp, who's also an international promoter for Stand Up Tokyo. He's recently been performing around America, and he agreed to come and meet me and Sam in a karaoke box on a Sunday afternoon. I think you'll enjoy this.
Hey, so Alex, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You've just got back from America.
Yes.
How was that?
The weight's dropping off already. I'm nearly back to fighting weight.
You're looking good.
I miss the food, actually. I was showing some of my photos earlier, and it's just a plate of pancakes and bacon. And I'm like, fucking, that's great.
They do that weird putting syrup on bacon.
Yeah, I used to not like it. I've been back and forth to the States all my life with my family, because my dad's afraid of going anywhere more exotic than that. And I used to have the pancakes separately on a separate plate, but now I'm 100% sold on the bacon and maple syrup.
You love it?
Yeah, I'm into it.
So you can see the Brits in the restaurant from where their pancakes are.
Yeah, if they're separating, if there's a sausage as a breakwater, as Alan Partridge says, then yeah, it's a Brit.
Have you ever eaten bacon with syrup on it?
No, I'm not as adventurous as Alex.
I love that. You can't, that's too much. It's too good. You live in Japan. We used to do like,
I'll eat raw fish. I'm not eating.
Yeah, I've had fish heads.
I'll eat whale spunk, but no maple syrup on my bacon. Thank you very much. We're British.
Got to draw a line somewhere.
Absolutely.
How about in America? Were there any sort of notable incidents or anything interesting that happened while you're out there?
There's a couple of things. I mean, the one place that never fails to cause an interesting eventualities is the Comedy Store in Hollywood. You know, it's very obviously mythical place. I've been there twice now. So this time was I opened at the roast battle. So you guys know you've roast battled here.
Yeah.
There was only one winner, wasn't there, Sam?
Yeah.
Fucking bribed the judges with chocolates.
I was saving that for episode 10.
A big build-up. Yeah. This can be one of the little references. So they had the roast battle show there, the actual original roast battle show, and that one I was outside, because at the Comedy Store you hang out outside and da-di-da, and I'm hanging out near the doorman, and he says, "Hey, there's a bald dude over there pissing behind that car." I don't know why I'm doing New York accent.
Yeah, it's good.
It's what comes to mind. There's a bald dude pissing behind that car. Can you go and tell him to stop? And this other doorman goes up, like all big nuts, going up to pull this guy off the wall. And the minute later, he comes back and he's like, "Oh, that was Joe Rogan." And I just had to tell Joe Rogan to stop pissing. And I turn around and there's Joe Rogan. He knows that people have already clocked him now. I went to the Comedy Store in LA for the first time. I did something called Kill Tony. It's a live podcast, where you have a comedian does 1 minute, and you have a panel. You have Tony Hinchcliffe, who's a guy who famously writes for Roast Battle, writes for the actual roast, and has performed at the roasts. He's quite a well-known comedian. You put your name in, and it gets pulled out of the hat. So you just go in and wait and see if you get pulled. First person up was a lady called Miss Lips. Now, Miss Lips was a 300-pound black woman who had probably, I don't know if she's ever done comedy. She certainly does not know what comedy is in the traditional sense. She's just a lunatic. She was not getting laughed with for her performance anyway. And it was just this insane experience. And everyone was just like, "Wow, that was nuts." The next name out of the hat, Alex Edwards. Alex Edwards was a name I'd chosen because I don't like my name, Alex Campbell. Alex Edward is my middle name. So I decided on this stage name. Already it freaked me out. Now, earlier in the day, I'd been shopping to buy a suit for this wedding, and I decided to buy myself a nice fedora hat. Now,
quirky.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen me wear a hat. Rarely I wear a hat. I don't look good in hats. Nobody looks good in a fedora. It had like a green, it was like a green khaki. I went. I just couldn't have time to get a haircut. It was brave and stupid. There's a very thin line. So I just wore this hat, and I thought it was okay. I didn't even think about it. No one had ever said to me, "Hats are a bad idea in stand-up comedy. You don't look good in that hat." Nothing had been said. So I went up. I did my 1 minute. And this was like, I tried to fit like 3 minutes of material into 1 minute. I was just burning through this rubbish material. I've only been doing it about 6 months at this point, maybe about 8 months. And it was just dog poop. Anyway, I did my set, and they were like, they just ripped into me. And that's part of what the show is about, but it was absolute ripping.
So you're the butt of the joke.
Oh,
you
100%.
go up there, whoever, your
British
Miss Lips goes
accent.
up there, and you're there to be shot down.
Yeah, most of the time. But other people, the girl who went on after me, they were like, "Oh, you're great, you're really good, I love that joke," and they were really constructive, they were loads of help. With me, they were like, "What are you, Indiana Jones?" Like, asking me, they were saying you're British, like, do you have it means you're uncircumcised. They were talking about all this stuff, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm just getting ripped." And I tried my best. But that fedora just killed the nail in my coffin, man. I can't believe I did that.
What did you do with the hat?
The hat is gone. That's all I can say about the hat. The hat is thankfully gone. I think the hat came in. The hat was like, the hat, that's the thing. I don't even remember getting rid of the hat. I think the hat disappeared. I think the hat was like, it wasn't really a hat. It was just a mercurial object that was sent to me to teach me a lesson. It took the shape of a fedora, but really what it was just something to crush my ego.
Could have been anything.
It could
I reckon your mate will turn up at your wedding wearing it.
Yeah. Remember me?
Yeah. So you obviously are one of the promoters for Stand Up Tokyo, and you get over international comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what sort of obstacles do you face getting them over?
Obstacles getting comedians over. You know what? There's not that many because this is a place where everyone wants to go. Tokyo, Japan. It's a place everybody wants to go, and it's kind of uncharted territory for comedy and for comedians, and it's a very exciting thing for a lot of comedians. The obstacle would be managers and agents.
Right.
That's the biggest obstacle. And yeah, there's certain levels of entertainer who it's really difficult to bring over for reasons of work permits and the costs of things. But we can bring some really great comedians over here, and we've been really lucky to be able to do that. I mean, some are by accident, some are on purpose, but overall, you've got like Hannibal Buress was one of the first people to kind of start the ball rolling.
Yeah.
We've had Stuart Goldsmith, who's also a big podcaster.
Yeah.
And,
Comedian's comedian.
yes, the comedian's comedian. And Steve Hofstetter, we had recently Angela Johnson, we had Tom Rhodes last year.
Yeah, so big names.
Some really great comedians, really brilliant performers, and pretty famous people. Yeah, I mean,
Who's been your personal favourite that you've had over?
that's a good question. I have not
Thank you.
thought about. My personal favourite, you know what, actually, who I really enjoyed just watching was one of the first ones who came, was Phil Wang, who's not a huge name, but he's really become much bigger since. He's done live at the
Well, he's come
Apollo.
back twice, hasn't he? Well, he's come back again, sorry.
Yes, he came. He's been here twice. Yeah. So he came more recently and just came into Good Heavens. But yeah, I really enjoyed him, and it was quite early on in doing stand up, so I wasn't so jaded by the whole thing. I wasn't so critical of watching comedians, especially in the same room, because the experience is different. If I go to a show in a theatre and I go to watch a big stand up, I feel more like part of the audience. I can enjoy it more. When it's my show or when it's in the place I do comedy in a bar, where I'm used to it, I feel a bit more critical and it's harder to enjoy it. I don't know if that sounds pretentious.
No, well, that's what you said to me the other day, wasn't
Yeah,
it? That
yeah.
he'd been to watch a certain comedian, and I said to him, because I love that comedian, how was it? And he said, I think doing stand-up comedy's ruined my ability to watch stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It certainly makes it more difficult.
Yeah.
You're just so much more demanding and more...
Yeah, you kind of feel, for me personally, I can tell when people are being hacky, and I can tell when people are just phoning it in and they can't be bothered, and I can tell...
Well, I have two standard positions when I'm watching another comedian. It's
sitting down and...
lying down. No, they are... One is that I'm annoyed because the joke is rubbish and hacky.
Yeah.
And the other is that I'm annoyed because it's brilliant and I didn't think of it.
Yeah.
So those two things make me not enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Like,
I find it interesting. Some people say, I saw this comedian and I wanted to quit. I find that quite strange because, for me, when I see someone who's really amazing, I'm like, oh, wow.
No, I think seeing people who are really good at what they do, for me, it inspires me rather than
yeah,
makes me
it does
think,
inspire. With these guys and girls coming over, have you had any sort of prima donna requests? We've had the good stuff now. We want to hear the dirt.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will preface it and say that, like, I wish I had something worse. I wish I had something juicier. But, there was one comedian who came, and it was so intimidating for me because I was speaking to the agents and the managers, and they were sending these things and like, these are the demands and these are what we need, and here's the tech spec, and here's the rider, and the rider had hummus on it. I'm like, where am I going to get hummus in Tokyo?
Yeah, but you have to make it.
Yeah, there's all this stuff because this artist very rarely performed outside of the United States or US kind of territories. And when she came... No, I mean... It's,
No, I think we knew it as a girl after the hummus.
yeah, right, that's it. Men don't eat hummus. When the gig came to happen, the artist was really lovely, really not demanding, just absolutely great.
Actual proof we're in a karaoke booth. Much. Hi.
10 minutes.
We're done, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, それは大丈夫です。もう終わりました。はい、ありがとう。Got 5 minutes. That's about right.
Yeah.
Where were we?
I'll ask one more question.
Yeah, I've got one as well. Actually.
Okay.
Go on, you go first.
I'll try and...
How much do you think, Sammy?
Huge.
No. Just if you could have any comedian come over, who... Did I steal your
Yeah, you did.
question?
Yeah, that's going to be my question.
Okay, you're sharing it. Would you like to alternate the words? No.
Who
Would
you
bring
over
if
you
could
bring
anyone?
in the... That's two words.
Yeah. But
If you could bring any comedian over, who would be your dream comedian?
Okay, well, I have to give two answers to this because there's fantasy and there's reality.
Yeah,
right.
I think huge names. I love Bill Burr, and I think he's amazing, and I think that would be a great one to bring over. But I that's not happening through me. I think anytime soon. I've got to be honest. I think someone who I feel would come, who would be a challenge, would be Adam Buxton.
Oh,
Who has his show, which is generally called Bug. It's like a AV show, his projectors and his laptop and everything. And I mean, I just love him. He's brilliant. I listen to his podcast all the time.
Yeah, me too.
He's just a wonderful character, brilliant guy. He's got such a... I'd love to see him over here. And I feel like that's something that may... I don't. There's no plans for that. I've not spoken to him, but I feel like he might do it. Do you know what I mean?
And he did that show years ago. Adam and Joe do Tokyo.
Yeah.
So he's got he had a bit of interest in Japan. So
Maybe you want to come and see how it's changed. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that both Bill Burr and Adam Buxton are listeners to the podcast.
Of course.
If you are listening, guys, get in touch with Alex Camp at standuptokyo.com.
That's it.
Thanks to Alexander Camp for meeting us in a karaoke box on a Sunday afternoon. If you want to find out more about the shows he's involved in, please go to standuptokyo.com. And now, a word from this episode's sponsor.
Howdy y'all, Bob here from Bob's English, the most well-known English language school in the Tokyo area. We are currently recruiting for new teachers, and that teacher could be you. You know the difference between thar, and thar? It don't matter. You know what a gerund is? It don't matter. Can you conjugate a verb? Hell no, me neither. You got most your own teeth, the ability to sit down, and can tolerate small kids, then you've got what it takes. Get to our website and remember, at Bob's English, you can learn to speak English proper.
Yo, Johnny McBee and Sammy O.T. Two Brits talking shit over a cup of tea. Probably a spot of milk and a crumpet, please. But there's something else cooking in the kitchen. Could someone answer the burning question?
All right, and now it's time for this episode's burning question.
That's right. But before that, we had email in from Ben from England answering a previous burning question. That burning question was, what is the biggest cultural faux pas you've ever made? And Ben said, when visiting his Japanese girlfriend's house for the first time, he thought it would be a good idea to buy her mum some flowers. So he popped to a supermarket nearby and bought a pretty bunch. Turns out they were flowers for a grave.
Yeah, I've done that. I did that 2 years in a row for my wife's birthday.
Sounds like she won't take the hint.
Yeah.
Ben did say that girlfriend is now his wife, so things turned out, well, depending on whose point of view.
Death of his free time.
Yeah.
Death of his enjoyment.
But the birth of his love. Anyway, John, what's this week's burning question?
This week's burning question is, have you ever been involved in a prank which has gone bad?
We had some emails coming in. Well, I had an email from Justin from Australia. He said that when he was younger, he foolishly put a dead spider in his girlfriend's bed, and she did not see the funny side of it, and she dumped him.
Fair enough. Well, we had one from, this is Jenny from England, this was via Facebook, and she said her boyfriend, this is awful, her boyfriend quite often farts into his hand and then cups it over her face, but one time he followed through.
Oh my God.
And,
I'm going to beep that out.
Yeah, he followed through and actually put some on her nose.
What's his name?
I don't know, she just says an ex-boyfriend. So,
Well, if you're out there and you're listening, you are disgusting.
scum.
That is out of order.
How about for you then? Have you,
Yeah, I've been involved in a couple of pranks that have gone bad, but one that really sticks out for me, I was probably 18 years old, and I was working in a bar part-time, and my friend came in. I was doing the day shift, and my friend was unemployed, and he came in for a drink, which was probably why he was unemployed. And it just happened to be April Fool's Day. So we came up with a ridiculous idea to call his girlfriend and play a prank. But the prank we came up with was to say that he'd been in a car accident. Now, looking back on it, it was a mistake. But at the time, we didn't really see it. So I called his girlfriend, and she picked up. And then I said, Dan's had an accident. It's not really serious, but he is in the hospital. And then she said, okay, and we hung up. The plan was to call her back immediately, so I did. But then when I called her back, the phone was engaged.
Nice.
Yeah. So massive panic ensues. I kept calling it, it's engaged, and eventually got back through to her. And it turns out the reason her phone was engaged because she was on the phone to Dan's mum. Wasn't popular around that household for a while, I can tell you that much.
Did you get invited to the wedding?
I know, they broke up.
So your plan was successful then?
Yeah, it seemed innocent at the time, but yeah, looking back, obviously it was quite a bad thing. So, John, what about you? I suspect you have a large catalogue of pranks gone bad to choose from.
Yeah, well, probably my favourite one was like a reverse prank that went bad. So, when I was at university, I used to live with some friends, and I had a job working in a pub. And one afternoon, we'd all sat around playing Mario Kart. And then it was time for me to go to work. And so I got on the tram in Manchester. I got to work. And when I got to work, the pub was closed. And so I went outside. This is kind of before mobile phones were a thing. And I went in the phone box and I called the boss of the pub. And I said, why is the pub closed? So he opened the door and let me in. He said, I didn't think you were coming today. One of your friends had called and said that you've got like a sexually transmitted disease and you won't be coming to work.
Based on a true story.
Great friends. But luckily, in a weird way, it turned out that the pub was actually closed because one of the barrels had exploded downstairs. So I went off, got back on the tram, went back to my house, and I pretended that I'd lost my job. And so I pretended to be really angry with my friends. And then I stormed off, went round my other friend's house, and I said to them, can you call that house? I said, what's happened to John? Why is he going mental? And then my friend who'd done the telephone call, great friend, he came round the house about 30 minutes later with a cheque in an envelope for my loss of earnings, which I then tore up and threw in his face. I
love the cheque in that story. It really dates it, doesn't it? Yeah. There's probably a few younger listeners not knowing what a cheque is. It's a really old kind of money. Anyway, that's been this week's Burning Question. Okay, time for some stand-up comedy. Today's stand-up comedian is Ed Hill. Originally from Taiwan, Ed is an emerging young comic who moved to Vancouver in Canada when he was young. Since then, Ed has performed all over the world. He was voted Best Vancouver Comedian of 2016 by West Ender magazine, and he was named Comic to Watch in 2015 by the Canadian Immigrant magazine. So he's got a lot of pedigree. This guy, he's definitely going to make you laugh. Please enjoy.
Oh my God. It's good to be here, guys. It's good to be here. I had a weird few days. I'm not going to lie. I was on my way here. I was checking in the airport, walk up to the counter. The guy looks at my pastor, looks at me, goes, wow, you're big for an Asian. I was like, wow, you're rude for a person. And he saw my face. He's like, oh, man, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying you're a colorful group of people, you're hardworking, and you're small. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're talking about Oompa Loompas, but thank you. Just give me my ticket. I gotta go. There's weird people everywhere. I'm sure you guys met them, right? Yeah. But for some reason, they love to talk to me. I'm like the weirdo whisper. I don't know what's happening. Like I was at the mall, just at the food court, waiting in line for my food. Guy walks right in front of me, looks at me, goes, hey, Angela? What? He's like, are you Angela? I'm like, are you okay? Because I'm a guy. And he's like, oh, you just look like somebody I know. Then he just walked away. He just walked away. I'm like, you can't end a conversation like that. Because there's a woman out there named Angela who looks just like me. And she's okay with it. Like 0% this should be Angela. I feel like Angela can do better. You know what I mean? I feel bad. I don't know. I don't understand how I get myself in these situations. I don't understand. Like I was just hanging out at a party, standing in the back, you know, talking to a guy I just met. Middle of the conversation, he's like, Ed, I just bought this new truck. You want to see it? I was like, yeah, I'll see a new truck. That's cool. So he takes out his phone, turns it on, and it was a picture of a giant dick. And he just looks at me and goes, oh, oops, I guess that's not it. And I just kept scrolling. I'm like, what do you mean that's not it? He's just gonna move on like that didn't just happen? That's not a flower. That's a picture of somebody else's dick, because I'm pretty sure you're not black. You know what I mean? And I guess I reacted a little much. I did, because there's a girl standing next to her. She's turned around. She's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And the dude's just like, oh, we're just looking at a dick. I'm like, there's no we. I'm not part of this team. I signed up for a monster truck, and you gave me a monster cock. You know what I mean? This is not, it's a scam. Even my parents are weird. My parents are immigrants, so they came from a different country. Now, if you come from different countries in North America, you can pick a new name. So my parents could have named themselves anything. So my mom named herself Candy, like the dessert. And my dad named himself Smiley, like a freaking idiot. Candy and Smiley. It's like midget porn gone wrong. You know what's the worst part is when I was a kid, I had to go to the library, I had to use my dad's card because I'm a minor. So every time I go to the counter, a lady would scan the card. She's like, are you Smiley? I'm like, no, I'm Angela. Just give me the books, okay? I gotta go. Runs in the whole family. My younger brother, he's 26 to this day, so paranoid. I'm dying from lying. He can't pee in the public bathroom because he thinks someone's gonna run in and flick his dick. Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that outrageous? It's ridiculous. Because just because I did it doesn't mean someone else is gonna do it. I had a weird experience that kind of changed my life, though. I had a chance to do comedy in my homeland, my motherland, Panda Express. No, it's stupid. That's dumb. I went to Taiwan, that's where I'm from. And everywhere I went, people recognized me. And it wasn't because of comedy, it's because of a viral educational video in Taiwan that teaches people about sexual assault. And I look just like a guy in it. Yeah, so my face is the national Taiwanese symbol for man creep. Yeah. And you know what? My brother heard this, he goes, oh, this is hilarious. We gotta find out who this guy is. So he Googled him. Apparently this guy was born a woman. And when he got older, he got a sex change and got into acting. And the minute I heard this in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I found Angela.
Ed Hill there. God, that was great. I love that. If you want to find out more about Ed, you can go to his website, kingedhill.com. And Ed's got a tour coming up starting in Taiwan this spring. So definitely, if you have a chance, go and see him live. He's even better live. That just leaves me to say one more time thanks to Ed Hill. Also, thanks to Alex Camp for coming down and talking to us. Don't forget you can find all of his stuff at standuptokyo.com. And you can find links to both Ed and Alex's stuff at our website, johnandsaminjapan.com. That's been a great show.
It has been a great show. It's flawless. It's almost as if we've done that before, Sam. So yeah, if you want to get in contact with us with a burning question, an answer to a burning question, some of your stand-up, or if you'd like to be interviewed, go contact us on John and Sam on John and Sam on the world. well, we haven't done it that well, have we?
We're not recording that again. John and Sam
in Japan.com.
Well done.
On Twitter, Facebook. Yeah. And give us 5 stars. Oh, give us 10 stars because we've done it twice.
Well, that's all from us. Catch you later.
John and Sam in Japan International Comedy Podcast.